Heartbreak after the siren. Jamie Elliott breaks hearts, and the Pies win by 4 points. Good evening, Nathan.
Good evening, Sam. How are you?
I'm all right, actually. All things considered, how are you?
You were at the game, so what was it like at the last minute or few?
Loud. Well, we'll get into the particulars, but loud. That's the main takeaway. I got nothing else for you at this point. Essendon at 10. Oh, sorry. Try again. Essendon at 11, 10, 76. Collingwood at 12, 8, 80. Inaccuracy killing us once again. Merritt 38. Shield 30. Heppel somehow 26 disposals for the Pies. Taylor Adams 28. Crisp 23. And Dacos of the Nick variety 21. Goals. Wright 3, Guelphy 2, Langford, Jones, Stringer, Draper, Martin, Phillips 1 for the Pies. Ash Johnson, never heard of him, 3. Some bloke named Jamie Elliott, never heard of him. Carmichael Myercheck 2, and Cameron Dacos Nick. Oh, no, Josh Dacos this time. And Pendlebury 1.
That goal of Josh Dacos was quite good in the first quarter. Very nice goal.
First thing that went through my mind is that's not better than Draper's, so we're good. We're okay.
And that was pretty good. Excuse me. On that moment too, it was a piss poor effort from Hind to not chase him or just to let him waltz around you.
It was poor, and I mean I think Dacos got a little bit of a lucky bounce back to him. It kind of just popped up a little bit friendly, but yeah, it was pretty piss poor. And the chase from a guy who you think is one of our quickest players.
Hind's one of those guys that I often see when he's running after someone, he looks slow. When he's running with the ball, he looks fast. This is very funny sort of thing. Why don't you look fast now?
Not the most inaccurate thing I've ever heard. That's good.
I think Merritt's a little bit like that too, actually. He looks like he's about to bust a hamstring chasing someone.
Yeah.
But when he's got the ball, he's...
Actually, that was something I hadn't considered. A couple of times yesterday, we looked so slow chasing the Collingwood player with the ball. And I'm going, might have been Hind, might have been someone else. Like, this is one of our fastest guys. And the Collingwood players were just, pew, off they went.
Yeah. I noticed it a few times too. That was mostly in the first quarter, I thought.
We'll go from start to finish. I feel like that's a pretty good way to go.
That's usually a practical way to attack things.
If there are any Collingwood supporters here listening for, some salt and some sadness, this isn't the podcast for you. You're more than welcome to stay, but
you can buy us a coffee.
You're not going to get too much out of us. First quarter. What the hell? First of all,
horrible.
Collingwood was... Oh, no, they're in front, don't worry. I was going to say they're still on Adelaide time. We were on Adelaide time. We were just half an hour late.
It was very reminiscent of the early Geelong, that first round, where we just did not rock up to play and everything looked pear-shaped. It
was so bad. Like, it wasn't... after the last couple of weeks, we were confident, really. Me and you.
Well, we felt like we might have sorted that horribleness out, that leaking goals, no defence.
No pressure on any part of their game. And what stood out was, generally speaking, stoppage on the MCC members' wing, sort of half forward for them. They'd get the ball out to the middle of the ground side and they'd have 4 blokes. Just free, handball, kick.
Yep.
So there's no pressure on the ball going inside 50, which then, as we've talked about several times, doesn't give your defenders any chance whatsoever to actually defend.
And that's right. And then there was that frontal pressure that went missing again. Like we lost the ability to when to go up and challenge someone coming at you. Either that we didn't or we did it at the wrong time. And then they just handball over the top and there was another free Collingwood.
Which is again what we've
done. He left
done
his man and gone up.
Really well the last couple of weeks. He's made those decisions and committed to those decisions. And they've more often than not been right.
And possibly set up better around, like outside that camera angle sort of that you see, that things were set up like midfielders were getting in and helping and forwards were coming back down to help the midfielders. So, that all that structure was better. Whereas that first quarter, that all went back to those early rounds where the forwards were way up the ground. When we got the ball, there was no one to kick to. And when we didn't have the ball, we had no one to defend. It was really like everything went pear-shaped.
We were sitting there thinking 10-goal loss, maybe at best at that point, because it looked awful. One key moment
Yep.
sorry, no, you
There you
go
go.
because I'm going to change it a little bit.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, I was just going to say, I wondered if we got flogged, that then the commentators or the media would have said, "Oh, well, that's better. They're lost." You know, like they're not winning games at the end of the year when it's pointless. Like I was wondering, well, at least they won't be able to hang that crap on us anymore. Like they're all winning games when it's
We've
no
gone
good.
back to being shit. Yeah,
Yeah,
happy.
we'll just be shit for the end of the year.
The one, the one talking point out of that first quarter, really.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Which
I know where you're
just
going.
cracks me up. Ginnivan, right? First and foremost, high tackle every day of the week. No issues whatsoever if that was paid.
It was
what I loved.
It was a high tackle after it was a high tackle.
Well,
there were
that's
two high tackles in it.
What I loved was he got away with the first one, Mace, and then thought, fuck it, chucked him in a headlock. Play on.
And Ginnivan's face was like, what the?
He did kind of drop, but I got no issues with that as a free kick ever.
My problem with Ginnivan is, I've said to you this to him, his automatic reaction when he gets the ball is to get tackled. He does not look to get rid of the ball.
Will get found out as players get more aware of that.
You watch him; he's not trying to get rid of the ball when he gets it. He's trying to get tackled. He's dropping. He is dropping. I don't care what everyone says. He's dropping his knees. And he's also lifting his arm, which the umpire is saying, well, that's your prior.
Yeah. Well, but in that instance, it wasn't because he didn't get pinned. For holding the ball, he just was play on.
I think the umpire was just sending a little message to him. Saying, well, guess what today, buddy?
I mean, 100% high tackle, and the AFL have confirmed that today anyway. But
it was clearly a high tackle.
I know Collingwood had the last laugh. You don't have to tell me that, but the amount of salt coming from their end of the ground, like they were booing about that for about 5 minutes. It was quite entertaining, and we had a good old chuckle. But one of the highlights for me was that, and him not kicking a goal was pretty good for me. That's about it. First quarter, it was so different from what we'd seen over the last couple of weeks.
My take on it was that I took note of a couple of players who I thought were pretty bad, and I thought, well, is this them being bad under pressure when the times are tough and things aren't going their way? And, a lot of those guys improved in the second and third quarter. And that's because a guy like Merritt, I thought, played really well in that first quarter. Draper played well in that first quarter. They, were trying their darndest to get us out of that shit.
That's right. Merritt had 14 touches, I think.
He was everything. He was trying to just get the ball and get it for, but he did. Look, a couple of kicks were poor, but he was doing his best. Like couldn't have asked for anything more in that stage.
I think the positive we need to look at is the fact we fought our way back. So we kicked the first 5 goals of the second quarter, and then they got one late through Myercheck, bit of an open goal scenario.
Good football player.
Yeah, I have no issues with Myercheck. It was Ginnivan running into an open goal, but thankfully he handballed it. So again, that's good for me. But dragged our way back into it, and really between that, the third quarter, and most of the last quarter, we were the much better side. Which is why I think I'm not that stressed about the fact we lost, because our major issue earlier in the year, and particularly that Sydney game, we go back to the loss. There's nothing. You can't look at any part of that game and go,
there was no fight.
There was no positive whatsoever. Whereas that, you go, all right, we dominated for 2.5 quarters. No, that's not ideal. We want to be able to dominate for 4 quarters. Or 3.5 quarters. Every team's going to have a run at some point. But to be able to do that, and the only issue we had was putting it on the scoreboard.
Which has been pretty consistent for the last several weeks, hasn't it? Like our Gold Coast game, our kicking was pretty poor. Port Adelaide was poor kicking.
We are shocking in front of goal.
Yeah, so
we have
struggled with
forward.
that. And it's frustrating, I think, because we've got one of the better goal kickers in right, and Jones is also a pretty decent set shot. That one he missed, obviously we know the one, but he'd normally kick that 9 times out of 10. He's a beautiful kick of the footy normally, but you couldn't imagine that pressure of that shot.
No, and
that's the difference between an Elliott who's played 100 and I'm guessing 60 games, and Jones who's played 30 games. They're a long way apart in their careers, and Elliott's done that before. I'm sure. I reckon he's kicked goals Well, definitely kick pressure goals. I don't know if kick goals after sirens.
He would have played in the grand final.
Would he have?
So, well, he was there. He was been at Collingwood for ages. So I'm assuming he was thereabouts in 2018. But he's got experience, and we'll get to that in a minute.
To go back on your point for us, sorry.
Well, on the accuracy thing, so Collingwood was stupidly accurate on Anzac Day, 15-3.
That was annoying.
Freakish, really. And then yesterday, 12-8. So that's a combined 27 goals, 11. 38 scoring shots total. On Anzac Day, we were 12-10. And then yesterday, we were 11-10. Combines for 23 goals, 20 and 43. So we've had 5 more scoring shots than them over 2 games of football. And we couldn't manage a sneaky win in either game.
No.
But it's okay. I'm happy. Not happy. That's the wrong word. I can deal with losing it because I accept where we're at. I accept where we are as a club, that we're not going to win every game. That's okay. Just want to see bits. And signs that we're going to be a good side. Hobbs in the first quarter was about the only one. And Merritt, as you said, Hobbs was great. He's cracking in, hitting it at pace.
You see that shoulder still causing him some discomfort.
Yeah, and his left foot. He cracked in. He cracked in bloody hard, and was one of the only ones to do it. So, we have a future. It's fine.
But to go back to your earlier point too about how, we played better football. So we won like all the major sort of stats too, like not just sort of possessions, but in stoppage wise, they did win hit outs, which I found fascinating because Mason Cox, I think he had quite a fair few. But for clearances, so we won the centre clearances and stoppage clearances, which interestingly, looking at the numbers, we're averaging more than, so stoppage clearances, Collingwood are better than us throughout the year, but for centre clearances, we are better than them. So we won contested possession, we won inside 50s, we won marks inside 50s, we won, tackles inside 50s, we won the tackle count, so we won all those numbers that you want to see. Yeah.
Smashed uncontested ball. We were miles ahead, I think 3/4 time when it flashed up on the screen.
But they're all the numbers you want to see. It's just we couldn't, for the fact that we're still not quite polished enough or, quite experienced enough, put that down on the score. And that's where we're at.
Yeah. I will die on the hill that I'm happy to see us fight and play good football and lose before we play shithouse football and win. I take nothing from being shit and winning. I'm happy to take some positives out of being competitive in this scenario, but not quite getting the chocolates. Would I have liked to have beaten Collingwood? Absolutely. Would I like to have not had a goal after the siren and be deafened for the next 5 minutes because Collingwood won? Yeah. But whatever.
But I'd also take that second and third quarter and how well we played and how we, as I said, in the first 3 or 4 games of the year, we just dropped our heads in those situations and teams walked over us. So something's changed. And that's better at least. So that's the improvement we were looking for. At the start of the year, we wanted to see something. We were just looking, we would have cherished this moment to some degree, after that start of the year we had, to be back in against the top 4 side and being competitive. Just to the kick after the siren. Look, Harris kicks the goals, we win.
Well, I want to move on to that. So, fourth quarter, a number of things, culminate into this scenario in which we lose.
Yep.
We had gettable shots at goal, particularly in the last quarter.
Yep.
Throughout the game, over handballing and missing or losing the opportunity to shoot.
Yep.
We were talking about that one moment before we started that Snelling running in through 40 didn't have the shot, handballed it, put ourselves under pressure, and we kicked a point from that.
I have concerns over Snelling's ability.
We'll talk about him in a minute. Missed shots in the last quarter. They were gettable ones. We kicked goals in the last quarter.
Stringers was a challenge from the pocket, but then, Elliott kicks his.
Well, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We were 21 points up, I think, at the most in that last quarter.
Yeah. Yep.
And then they kick one. Home crowd. Collingwood, they're just loud. It's annoying. And they kick another. Okay. The specific things that led up to that goal. First of all, Jones' tackle on Howe. Not quite sure how that was a free kick.
No,
for anyone. It was a weird scenario. Howe bounced the ball, kind of lost it, and then got tackled. He didn't really get lose it because he got tackled.
And it could have been a 50. Like they've seemed to have thrown that thing because the guy did kick it after the whistle blew. So
yeah,
early in the year we've seen that ping for 50, but that seems to have also been thrown out.
Yeah. So he gets the shot, right? Regardless of the free kick, he gets the shot. I was down the other end of the ground, so I'm guessing he was about 40 out.
Yeah, not much
ish, straight in front.
more.
Right.
Directly.
Now, I'm not going to hang shit on Jones because every player misses shots at goal. But my biggest thing with football, do the simple shit right and you'll win a lot of games of football. Right? That's a simple thing. 40 metres out, straight in front. Do that right, we win.
Yep. He should have kicked it. I think that's the obvious thing.
But we're not blaming him for the loss, but he should have.
Not blaming him, but he should have kicked that. But
the follow on from that is that we had, I think this is all from Fox Footy I read today, 4 players around him kind of waiting to celebrate.
That's what it looked like, yep.
We hadn't set up at all, or either that or we assumed they were going to go straight down the middle.
Yep.
Apparently there was an interview with Jeremy Howe, I think, after the game saying, Pendle's noticed that and said to Darcy Moore just to kick it out wide because that's where they're going to have the space. That's what happened. The next issue in that chain is that, one, Heppel's on the bench, which say whatever you want about him as a captain, as a player. That's our captain sitting on the bench at the most critical part of the game of football. That's pretty poor.
Yep.
Then Jamie Elliott, who, no disrespect to the man, is 5 foot tall. On Kelly, was it?
Yeah, Kelly was the guy who was in front of him in the mark, and Langford was the guy that missed the spoil. Come over.
So we had two Essendon guys to one fairly short bloke from Collingwood who shouldn't be taking contested marks. At that point, we lost all control of the game.
We lost all control of the game when we let them walk it out of the kick in and get up to the wing within 2 kicks, and without any pressure. There was a moment where Ham was charging towards the kicker and turned around and ran back the other way. Like, what decision is that? Like, that was just a weird moment. And just go for the bloody guy with the ball. Like, if he steps around you, at least there's another couple of seconds being chewed up.
Yeah, I don't think it was Ham, but there are a couple of times, and I don't know who it was, where we're a bit ball hungry. So a guy will give the handball off, and then rather than shepherd or do the team orientated thing of looking after your teammate, they'll keep running to get the handball back.
Yep.
And then either the bloke with the ball gets put under pressure and stuffs the handball, or he gets tackled that's holding the ball. There were a lot of holding the balls yesterday. Anyway, the end, right? Elliott takes the mark, 30 seconds left, and kicks one of the greatest all-time shots after the siren on the siren that you'll see.
Kick from that spot.
But we lost it. We lost it because we just weren't aware, weren't mature enough, weren't whatever. And to say Heppel's on the bench is fine, but you've got other leaders. You can be a leader without
100%.
being a captain.
The fact it comes down to the fact that they obviously hadn't trained this at training. Like, what do we do if there's a kick in and we don't want to give the other game? We can't all just stand in the middle. That's stupid. How about we spread wingers out and defenders? There was no one, when you watch the down the ground footage, there is one extra player down back. Like, that's why the fuck would you even be hanging it? Like, come on. But this is the inexperience we have at the moment. Like, this is kind of, we're a young side. Heppel wasn't on the ground.
Conversely, Collingwood have won so many close games.
Yeah, so they've been doing this the last, training basically the last 6 or 7 weeks of these games. So it just wasn't good enough. Look, on that, I don't get this Ham as the Smetty sub too. He was shithouse. I won't call it anything else. He was useless. His tits on bull sort of comment. Like, he just gave us nothing. And he gives us nothing as a player, even when he's on the bloody ground. He's useless. And I can't see the reason why, if Massimo D'Ambrosio is playing in the VFL full game and Perkins played at what I understand was a full game, why the fuck can't we have them as Medi subs instead of fucking useless Ham who comes on for nothing?
He's got
this medical sub comes on, kicks 2 goals and has an influence or effect on the game.
Yep.
Just pisses me off, Ham.
He pisses me off. I don't understand. I'm with you. I don't understand. Like, you've got, as you said, D'Ambrosio. You could theoretically have played Perkins as a sub, assuming that he might play a quarter or 2.
Yep.
Or you play Cutler, who is what we think's the perfect sort of build
Yep.
for him.
Cutler might be still injured. I'm not sure where Cutler's at.
I thought he played VFL. I'm sure he played.
Oh, well,
VFL.
then if he played VFL, well, then it's a shocking call to have
Speaking of
Ham
which-
on in the 23.
It is.
He's useless. He can't play back. He can't play forward. He can't play. He's just get him off the team.
He's uncontracted, so I think we might see the arse end of him. But
So what? We've just been nice to him, playing him a few games. Like
I don't know.
I just like. I don't know. I watch him do things. I go, God, you're shithouse, mate. Like seriously, you are the worst player we've had in our club for a long time.
And we really thought we cleared out a lot of that sort of player. Like,
We've still
no
got some more to
disrespect.
go.
Clark was one of them. He just wasn't ever quite there.
Yeah.
Probably showed a bit more positive signs than.
Well, Clark was.
but
He was an inside. He was a very good inside football player. Couldn't kick. Wasn't really classy with the running either. Like wasn't.
I'd be very surprised if he gets another deal. The VFL boys did have a really good win up in Brisbane against Southport, who was second on the ladder. We sat there and watched that.
Weeks.
We sat there and watched that. We kicked a goal, I think, to go more than 3 kicks clear, about 27 minutes into the fourth quarter. It was a count-up clock. The quarter went for 38 minutes. I don't know what I missed, but we were sitting there going, we're fine. It's for heaps of, there's bugger all time left. And then they kicked one. And they got back to within less than a kick. It's 35 minutes gone.
Queensland, they struggle up there with things.
They go and play the siren. Anyway, it's a good win. Hills absolutely snaked a goal, but he kicked a goal, sailing through, and he just took a mark and popped it over himself, which I think anyone else other than Hills, we would have been a bit upset, but it's Hills.
But there's some players that should come out of that team into the AFL team next week.
Well, Perkins is the obvious one for Snelling, even though Snell...
Yeah, Brosio for me comes in.
Well,
Redmond, we don't know how serious that is.
I missed that. I went to the loo at the wrong time. I don't know what happened.
Well, he took a mark and landed on his back. Looked like first I thought he'd winded himself, but they said internal sort of soreness. So he might have, heard of
internal soreness.
Well, they didn't say
such thing
soreness.
As external soreness.
Well, I don't think they said soreness, but it was a bit shitty from Cameron Ling. Cameron Ling sort of said, "Oh, I reckon he's been concussed, but they're lying." Like he basically said that I reckon the umpires, the doctors are lying, saying that it's internal issues.
This is why
it's concussion.
I can't watch football on the telly.
Oh, Cameron Ling.
You give me shit because I struggle to watch it when I'm not there. That's why.
Yeah. You can watch it
garbage.
Just have the volume off.
Absolute tripe. I'm all give us fan TV, fan commentary.
I'd give us bloody anyone.
I'll commentate.
Yeah, there should be a whole YouTubey thing where you can flick on your YouTube and the commentators live with the footy. Like I don't know how that would work, or podcasting with it. I don't know, something. I'm not young.
Don't give away all my plans, please. Okay. Snelling, right? 8 tackles is a big positive. He had 20 touches, 14 of them were handballs, and that's probably because he can't.
How many goals he kicked, Sam?
Oh.
How many goals
has he kicked? I want to talk about.
How many goals has he kicked since he's come back?
That's what I want to talk about. So, set shot last week and this week from about 30 out, and I reckon he was even closer yesterday.
Oh, he was 25.
And it didn't make the difference. Now, on his little stat sheet, it won't matter yesterday because he kicked it to Peter Wright, took a mark, kicked a goal. It was a goal assist. Yep. But it was an absolute shank. The man off a set shot cannot kick 30 metres, yet running into 50, he can kick it 40 to the top of the goal square. No way.
That's still, he's got momentum. He can barely scrape 40, 45.
You can't be an AFL player.
No.
And not kick 30 metres. There are teenagers that can kick 30 metres.
I could kick 30 metres still with mine.
Yeah, but we're old. We can't run.
Yeah.
That's a stretch. I can't kick that far.
Oh, sorry. Anyway, look, my issue with him is that his tackle defensive pressure. Like I thought that he probably went on to, by the looks of things, he went on to Nick Dacos in that second and third quarter, which was causing us issues in the first quarter, which I don't know why the freaking hell we didn't do it in the first quarter. Like I was fascinated by that coaching decision, how we were giving him space. Like his last game, he had 40 touches, 3 goals. Like, can we tag him?
What struck me about him, I don't watch a lot of Collingwood. I don't watch a lot of other teams because, again, I hate the commentary. You look at the stats for Dacos, and he's had 30-something in goals and then 40 and 3 goals.
Yep.
Yeah, far out. He was absolutely, for this game only, I'm not hanging shit on the kid for the whole year, easy ball merchant. Like every single time a Collingwood player had the ball in D50, he'd run around the back and get the cheapest bloody kick.
But that's what his job. He's an elite kick. That's what his job is to do at Collingwood.
But
that's why they put him on the half-back line, because he's elite kick and elite vision. He sees the game well. I understand what you're saying, but that's what his job is, to get the ball and kick it to the proper targets. Because if you watch some of his kicks, they are elite and they split us apart.
Don't care. Be better. Every time it became a joke amongst us little group that we were sitting with. We just like, get a hard ball, mate. Like, put your head over it. Just once. Yeah.
But for us to have left him free in that first quarter, I reckon he must have had too many touches. So Snelling went and did a job on him. But my argument is that I don't want a guy just in the team whose only job is to play a defensive. But you've got to kick goals as well.
If you were to argue Perkins in for him, Perko
100%.
can tackle, Perko can kick, Perko running in from 40 metres out or having a set shot from 30 would at least make the distance.
Perko can do all those things, and he's 19.
And he's got a bit of flair and a bit of...
and he can go in the midfield and he can do centre bounce attendances, so he can do all that sort of...
And I'm not just saying that because he's my favourite just about at the minute, but...
No.
He's got talent. Like, he's exciting. He's got that special kind of talent. Not just that he's going to be a good footballer, but that he's going to be able to do the freakish sort of stuff and win games off his own.
But he's got to get back in. We've got to find a way. Well, not find a way.
He'll be back in. Don't worry about that.
He's got to get back into the team.
The last matchup I want to talk about is Dyson Heppel on Still side bottom.
Yeah,
now, I've got nothing but respect for side bottom. He's torn us several new ones over the years. That was a battle of the ages and not in the good way. That was the most like two senile old pricks trying to play football. Heppel, we need to talk about Heppel after the season. But every time the ball went near them, I went, oh my God, boys, give up, please.
Well, okay, so there's talk, and I don't know how real talk, this is, that we're talking to Angus Brayshaw? No.
Angus Brayshaw from Melbourne, that is correct.
Now, if that was true, and I don't know if it's true or not, and if you say you got him as a free agent, he's an upgrade he's a 27-year-old, much better version of Heppel, who could play a winger role or a halfback role. He can run all day. He makes good decisions. He's a good kicker. He's a player that would push Heppel out personally.
Yeah, and it is difficult. We sat here before and said, as far as blokes at a footy club go, he's great.
Yep.
Right? He's a good bloke. Clearly, the players have respect for him because they vote him as captain every year.
Yep.
But his footballing ability just isn't there. He had 26 touches yesterday, which on the face is fine, but he's so slow of mind and slow to get rid of the ball, slow to turn. Just slow. And you think Pendlebury, right, is slow, but he's quick. He has awareness. He can let the game move past him. He's always had that.
And he's elite skills too. He kicks the ball well. Yeah. Whereas Heppel's never kicked the ball well. He's always floated the ball.
There's a courageous individual, as a leader, no issues.
Yep. But he's loved amongst the club and the players. You can see that, but
ability, not quite there for me. Anyway,
his ability's going to come. He's going to come crashing down quickly, I think. I reckon they'll sign him on next year, but it wouldn't be surprised to see him maybe not playing every game.
Well, if he's captain, that's kind of weird. But yeah,
he won't be captain. There's no way he'll be captain next year. No way in hell.
But the players get that vote, so
yeah. But the club won't let it. The club won't say no. We'll find someone else. We'll fudge the numbers. Oh, you all voted for McGrath. Well done, everyone. I think that's funny because who'd you vote for? I thought it was Dyson. Yeah, me too. That's weird.
Not going to make the obvious joke there.
Do we also talk about with the VFL? So Stewart kicked 4, Menzies kicked 4, D'Ambrosio had 20. So
I don't think Menzies kicked 4. I think that's a big fat lie from you.
Sorry, he kicked 1 goal. Sorry, my bad. Voss might have kicked 4.
Voss has kicked. Stewart kicked 4. Voss kicked 2, and Voss has a bit of goal scoring.
Voss is
probably
unit
next
too.
in line for the debut.
Yep.
And then Menzies.
But I guess so. For me, I'm thinking, what do we give these guys opportunity, and at what expense? How does the team? How do we think about structuring the team over the next 4 weeks to go before the end of the year?
4 games, yeah.
4 games.
What I would look at is is Ham, make a call. Surely Ham's uncontracted. Surely they know
Yeah, 100%.
95% now what outcome that will be.
We know what we get from him, and it's not much.
We assume bye-bye, Braden. Thanks for your service. Peace off.
Well, do they play him as a sub so that you can get full games and all these other guys?
Well, that's what I was going to say. So either bring Voss in, for example, as a sub.
Yep.
And say, right, mate, this is your option. You can play as a sub in the AFL team every week, or you can keep playing VFL. We think you're going to get a bit of experience and a bit of exposure as a sub. Or you look at Snelling, you look at the bottom six. I don't know what that bottom six really is anymore, and go, I'll use Snelling as an example. Are you going to be in our plans for next year, or are you going to be depth? If they don't think he's going to be in the best 22, or if they think he's on the edge, change it up. Move some players around, or bring players in and give them a go now, because there's no point doing it next year.
Well, part of my thoughts would be, so I would be thinking about dropping Phillips maybe, and I know that's a bit stupid, but for someone like Stewart, you could get away with that because then I could throw Stewart in the ruck when needed. But
why Stewart?
Well, because why not? He's another good tall. I know he's only
29 and not really.
20, that's 29's fine. That's not, you're not over the hill at 29. I'm just throwing out options. I felt in that first quarter, Phillips was a real
him and Draper first quarter could not hold a mark to save themselves.
Yeah, but Phillips's problem is he's slow. Like Draper's always going to be okay because he can get around the ground. He's quick for a guy's height, whereas Phillips is slow around the ground. And he got beaten in the ruck by obviously a bigger ruckman. But I was just thinking about I think that Draper's really responded well to having Phillips in the team. So you have to have another guy who can go in and ruck. So it's not going to be Bryant. I'd like to see it as Bryant, but they're not going to do that. I don't know. I was just looking for some different options because I'm interested to see how Stewart goes as a forward with our other forwards. He's kicked forward the last 2 weeks. He deserves a shot.
My humble opinion on Stewart is that he is good depth for Jones if he gets injured, for Wright if he gets injured, for Stringer at a stretch if he gets injured. I don't think you can't just bring him in when Phillips has been fine. Yeah, he played a bit crappy yesterday, but he was between him and Draper against Gold Coast was a massive factor in us winning.
But I'm just saying, with 4 weeks to go, what are you trying? What are you trying to get out of the season now?
Stewart's not the one.
Yeah, okay, all right.
It's Voss, it's Menzies, it's kids, not ancient blokes. We're not going to find anything out by playing Stewart now.
But for me, it's Stewart because I'd like to see how he functions in that forward line.
But why?
Yeah, why not?
He's depth. It's pressure on spots. That's what I'm happy with. It means that, Harry, you've got to play well every week to keep your spot. Otherwise, there's a bloke in the twos kicking 4 every week. And that's good. Pressure on spots is a good thing. But I don't see the point in doing it with a senior player for the sake of it. That's maybe the first time we've ever disagreed, and I think we did that really well. So we'll move on swiftly to the votes, if that's all right with you.
That's fine with me.
Unfortunately, we're rather similar again.
I did suggest to you, though, order. I think we should have a negative next year.
Next year, we'll do a -3-2-1, and we'll have a best and worst and fairest.
Well, it'd be interesting, I think, to compare.
For me, Draper 3, just thought he was great. That goal he kicked, his celebration, all the good things. Merritt, a lot of touches, a lot of ball, a lot of good ball. And I thought Shield, when it mattered, Shield really stepped up and got a bit of acceleration and gusto sort of going. For you?
I had Merritt as the 3. I thought he probably didn't see a lot of him in the last quarter, but I think they put a bit more time into him at that stage because they thought that he was the one that was causing them a lot of issues. And I could see players hanging off him a bit more when he was going for his kicks in the last quarter. So I gave it to Merritt because I thought he was good in the first quarter as well when we were all shit. I gave it to Draper for 2, and Shield I got the 1 because look, he's been really good the last 6-7 weeks. He's been one of our better players for that period, along with Merritt and Draper and guys like that. And Sammy Durham was good. Took some great marks. He's got great hands above his He marks well. I know it's a stupid comment, Sorry.
We're
He
short
marks
of
really
tall.
well above his head. Like he's got for a guy who, I don't know how tall he is, but he marks really well, like height. Like, you know, he doesn't get outmarked.
He's springy. I reckon he gets a good leg.
Yeah.
Good.
I have issues with Hines' game.
Yeah.
I thought the first quarter could have shot him, seriously. Like he was just that example of that chase against Josh Dacos was just disgusting. I thought, like, I would have, if I was a coach at that stage, I would have dragged him off and ripped shreds through him. So, mate, if you do that again, like, it wasn't just the chase, it was the effort on the boundary line where you should have just zeroed the ball or the player. One of the two you had to pick. And he just went for neither and sort of just bumped into Josh Dacos, while he just ran past him and tapped the ball and ran off. And then this sort of half-assed sprint after him, like, oh, he's so fast. Look at him run. Like, Jesus Christ, what's that?
Yeah, it was pretty poor. I'll wrap up, I think, on that. No, who am I tonight? It's been a long pod already. I went to 2 games of football on the weekend.
One was a draw.
Had a bit of a weekend of it. Went to Fremantle and Richmond on Friday night, and I'll tell you what, god awful game of football. I like Freo. I just think they're good to watch, and they were shocking. And Richmond played to their level. It was the worst, sloppiest. Yeah. It was like they were playing in wet conditions, and it was under the roof and not even a little bit slippery.
And it was the style of football wasn't attractive at all.
It was so shit. The only redeeming factor was that it was a draw and it was close. So then I go to the G and watch our game and go, yeah, all right, it was good footy at the very least.
You watched 2 games with like a 4-point result.
Yeah, draw and a kick after the siren. Not a bad 2 to pick from.
That's not bad.
Although, again, the draw was shit.
What do you think then, before you wrap it up, ins and outs for next week?
Oh, fuck, I forgot about that. Who we playing?
Yeah, I know. I just sort of comments from the field.
Okay. North are a bit in trouble, I see, with COVID. So there's might be some
time to play kids, maybe.
We'll probably lose.
We don't care if we win or lose. That's not what we're not result driven at the moment. Where we want to see what we got.
Back to your question. Perkins for Snelling, and if Redmond doesn't get up, then Massimo.
Ambrosio.
But
and
that's
you
fully
leave
dependent.
Ham in as a sub?
No, well, he's out of the team regardless.
Yeah.
And then
so
you play Cutler or someone else. Well, kind of, yeah, but not really.
Well, yeah.
It doesn't work that way. I've explained it to you several times.
You have to name someone else.
Grasp it. No, you don't. You name 2 wins and 3 outs. Ham goes out, and then your Medi sub is picked from the list of emergencies. Okay. You don't need to name an in when you're dropping the Medi sub.
Okay.
Your changes, do you agree? Snelling for Perko, you happy?
Well, yeah, I would also like to see Voss come in as the Medi sub.
Yeah, don't mind it. I'd rather see debutants get a full game, but I don't hate.
Yeah, but I don't. We did it with Tex Wangani, and they described it that we just wanted to give him the experience of being at the ground and all that sort of stuff, and that was how they talked about it. Then I agree with them. We want to give the experience of a full game, but I don't have a problem with that as like also an option. Like, you know, so you play. Maybe you don't come on the ground. That's what. But next week you do.
Give the player a choice. I'm okay with that too. Say, look, do you want to play or do you want to experience an AFL game day? Well, then sit on the bench, maybe play.
Here's what I'd do then. If I'm being honest, I would pick him to play, and I would make Heppel the Medi sub.
Ooh, controversial.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
I like it. It's why people come to us. Just going to read through some comments on that bombshell. Peter James, I hope this is satire. I read today on another podcast Facebook page that Ham got a new 2-year deal. Have you guys heard that?
No.
I'll be physically ill if true.
I'd write a letter. I'd be up to letter writing stage.
I haven't heard that. I would be amazed if he gets any more than a 1-year deal, if that.
Well, you think that'd be on the Essendon? Well, I know they might not. Yeah, I guess if that's gossip, then it wouldn't be. But no, what point? Why?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, it's double wrong because 1, we don't think he's really getting a new contract, but 2, if he did, surely it's a 1 year, not a 2. 2-year deal for him is membership in the microwave territory.
If that is correct, then I'm not happy.
We'll vomit. Yes.
Yeah. A little chuck up.
To follow that up nicely, Phil verbatim says fucking Ham has to go.
Yep, 100%.
10 out of 10. Half a game for like 2 touches. Yep.
He's just useless when he's on there. Like, he doesn't give us anything.
Yep. Massimo, as opposed to Ham, would have been defensively smarter. Lockie, yep, agreed. Phil reminding us that he's nicknamed Harry Jones the Wizard and that he almost sealed it for us. Almost, not quite.
Would have been great for him to have kicked it, I thought. Would have just, been a great little... Kid. They would have got around him. We would have gone back, had the bounce, play on the siren. Yay! Would have been. I pictured it in my head last night when I couldn't sleep.
I didn't get home until midnight, so I slept like a baby. Phil also said Elliot was injured for the grand final, so makes sense. He has had a bit of a shock and run with that. Simon, look up the rules, boys. Bouncing the ball whilst being tackled is incorrect disposal. That was really the Howe one. I didn't think he was being tackled when he bounced it.
I thought he'd already bounced it and he'd come back to him, to be honest.
I thought he bounced it and fucked it and then got tackled.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But I understand that point. If
you bounce while being tackled, it's holding the ball. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But I'm of view that I reckon he bounced it.
Yeah.
He fumbled it and then got tackled.
And it was holding the man, like genuinely. But anyway, doesn't matter. Phil's on a roll. You're preaching to the choir. Ham has to go. Phil can kick 40 on his left, in case you're wondering.
But he might be a left footer, Phil.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I read it. He might be a lefty. It's cheating if you are. That's it. That's all the comments. Well, that's not all the comments, but that's all the ones.
If there were any positive, are there a few negative ones, Sam?
No. Just some are too specific to what we were talking about at the time. So I kind of... Phil's right-footed. There you go. So kicking 40 on his left is important. Phil did give a minus vote, if I can run that by you.
Yeah, go.
Are we saying... I don't know what you meant, Phil. Are we saying -1 is the better option and -3 is the worst of the worst?
Yeah, so -3 would be the worst person on the ground.
Yeah, okay.
It would be the same as the +3.
From context, I'm assuming that's what Phil's done. So -1 Langford, bit stiff.
Yeah, no, he was ordinary.
Yeah.
He should have kicked another 2 goals, seriously.
Yep. -2 Snelling.
Yeah, 100%.
Only a bit rough because of the tackles, but yep.
No, but you don't have a guy just in the team to tackle. That's Clark. That's getting into Clark territory.
I know. And I don't need to tell you who -3 is.
Well, Jesus. I agree with him. I thought Langford, look, and this is the one I would, he's kicked 4 goals a couple of weeks ago, didn't he?
Who?
Langford.
Yes, he did against
and then he missed a pretty easy set shot, and that snap was the other one that when they dicked around with the ball, handballing it to each other.
There was so much of that too.
Oh, there was so much.
Put that away.
Just take the damn game on. Someone, like when you're running in, that should have been Snelling's. Running in, 40 out, you have a
And that's exactly what Perkins would have done.
Yeah, exactly. That's what Perkins, and he would have nailed it, and he would have celebrated. We would have went,
yeah. We would have all lost our voice that little bit more.
Because I'm interested in, I'm just excited thinking about, so Snelling, so it's guys like Snelling.
I'm excited thinking about.
Well, I'm thinking about Perkins, and then you think about where Cox and Reed and, these sort of guys. Baldwin, wonder if he gets back into the team,
Baldwin's a project. Baldwin's long-term.
Yeah, long-term project, but he's still, he's got to push someone out. If he's only, say if he's 25 and he's absolutely thumping the VFL, then who's spot
he's got to play, by that
point, he plays 2 years in the VFL and becomes a dominant force.
By that point, Stringer's 108 and
we'll be right. Fair enough. Stringer probably wouldn't be 108, but
probably not. One last thing. Now, we're not going to spoil this because you know the answer, so don't.
You sure? Because I normally forget things. I'm very old.
For the first time all year, last week, I tallied up our votes.
Oh, okay. And you know what? I don't remember.
Don't remember? No, you never fucking listen to me. The Don Pod Best and Fairest is close. It is being led by someone who's quite unexpected. There is someone also equally unexpected in the top 3.
Are you going to tell us or?
No, because we're not going to do this until the end of the year. I'm just trying to build some suspense.
Yeah, yep, I like it. Yep, because you've got me because I don't remember.
You don't remember? I'll tell you tomorrow. It's not bad. Oh, it's super interesting. Make sure you listen and find out who wins. When we do our
tell me who's
review.
5th?
I can put my phone away. I can tell you who's 5th.
Well, just to put it in context, who have we put 5th?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mason Redmond is currently 5th. not
Oh,
taking
geez.
into consideration today's votes because I don't know what that does to the
Well, he
whole-
wouldn't have got any because he was.
Well, no, he wouldn't have, but someone else
Yeah,
might have. That
But that's interesting because he's probably, I reckon, he'd be in the top 3 at the moment in the actual
second half of the year's been great. First
being
half,
dominant.
not so
Mm.
much. There's a few like that.
Right.
Anyway, keep an eye out for that. They don't win anything, and even if they did, I'm sure they wouldn't give a shit.
Maybe we'll have him on at the end of the year in an interview process.
Yeah, look, if you're on Twitter, just when we let you know, tag them.
And they'll go, the Don what?
The who? The what?
Sam and what?
Wait, you're telling me
no.
that the 15 people listening right now, not one of them is an Essendon player.
Probably not. They're probably not. We're not up there with the what is it? The Rish and the Rat, whatever.
We don't play for Essendon. We're kind of.
Have you seen that podcast by those
No,
two?
I can't.
McGrath and Parrish.
I don't listen to other podcasts because this is as good as it gets.
But they call themselves the Rish for Parish and McGrath. They call Wrath. Was it? Yeah,
because McGrath. We didn't need the explanation.
Yeah, well, it's not. But why isn't it Ra then? Why is it Rash?
I don't know. Stop asking me questions I don't know the answer to.
Okay.
We're losing listeners by a second, so we do need to wrap up. Any final thoughts? Quick final thoughts.
We're North Melbourne next week.
Oh yeah, give me a tip. That'd be your final thought. No explanation. Give me a tip.
Bombers by 45. We should
45.
touch them, I reckon. If they've got COVID issues, they're short players. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
The poor bastards.
I'll say, Dons by 28. I'll be a bit more conservative.
No, wimp.
Yeah, that's me. Right. Thank you for listening. We had great numbers here tonight, over 20 most of the night on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you are listening. We appreciate it. And we'll chat to you next week. Go Dons.
Yep.